Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on, Tuesday, the 25th of May. So, as we run through the month rather quickly, let's just look at the fundamentals due out today. We've got German IFO business climate at 9 o'clock and then consumer confidence in the US at 3 p.m. So, very light in terms of their normal impact on the markets. So, that aside, then, looking at the technicals. And the euro's finally managed this morning. It's just broken through the prior highs here. Last week's highs just pushing up at the moment, and starting to get a little wiggle maybe on here. It's as you see, coming down the 4 hourlies here. I was looking yesterday at the lower volumes kicking in yesterday as we had so many bank holidays kicking in. Today, let's just put the sign there. So today we're just literally, well, as I say, breaking into new high territory. Already hit the weekly pivot and the pivot, the R1, the weekly R1. Today's pivots themselves already, well, through the R1, less probability of it ever coming back to here. The only thing is this going to continue push on through this morning? We'll see. Generally, I'm always a bit skeptical when it runs just before 8 o'clock, but yeah, there we are. It could just come back, retrace a little, and then fire off. So nothing I could personally do to get into this trade where it sits at the moment. It would need a bit of a retracement, most likely anyway. Right, that's the euro. The pound. So the pound, daily wise, just looking at what's going on here, it's a little bit slower. Yesterday ended up doji wise. Bank of England speakers didn't really make too much difference to what was going on there. Pushing up at the moment. Well, it looks like it could be in reach of that double top again if the euro is anything to go by. But it is a little bit on the slower side on the pound. But break, well, it's a bit slower. It's behind the curve a little bit where the euro is making new highs. This is not yet up to its last week's highs, but it's looking okay where it sits at the moment, but it's already through its daily R1 into its daily R2. In fact, I'm just going to check on this because this data is not based on, it might be slightly off. Oh no, that's about right. Just checking those pivots, they've miscalculated otherwise, but yep, it's almost into R2 sort of territory. It generally slows things down when it gets into that point. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. There's no divergences or anything like this on this 60-minute. It's all looking okay, and it's just that sort of early flyer. Dollar yen. Well, yen's continuing. I moved my stop last week to break even, got stopped out on my long at break even, which I'm glad I did. Should have probably just hedged the other way and looked at some of this market, but it's been quite choppy. It's often quite slow. It's just gaining ground slowly. It's just, I'm just looking at the hourlies here. It's just back into its prior lows there. Again, it's pre 8 o'clock. We'll see what happens post 8 o'clock on this, but retracements and selling to retracements on this, it's the same sort of order of the day for most of these markets at the moment. The half decent retrace into some support may have some opportunities, but it's dashed off a little bit. Canadian dollar still short on my bigger swing on this, and add-in that I've put into it, but danced around a little bit yesterday, stopped me out on a trade there yesterday that I added in, but well, it's now heading south to sort of the weekly S1 area. May see some more downside on this, but it's again a bit messy, gone a bit quick into some support at the moment of some prior lows. Just see how this develops. It's just to say the markets have gone a little early for us this morning. Elsewhere, you want me to have a look at the pound yen. Was looking at this yesterday, funny enough. Pound yen in the trading room, and the pound yen, well, from a day, actually wasn't the pound yen, well, it was one of them, but pound yen, what's it up to then? Well, still upward trend largely. I should imagine some are looking to short this because it's up into those highs, but I'll come back to the dailies on this. I mean, trend wise, it's still trend line above its bigger scale trend line here. Is it running out of steam? Well, it looked like it was running out of steam, to be fair. There was a divergence kicking into the dailies here, coming down into the 4 hourlies. Well, it really depends on what you can do from where it is at the moment, I suppose. If it can close back above that 4 hourly 34 and around that area, well, then it looks a bit more bullish and we could see it running back to the highs there. If I was looking to short it, I'd be a bit more wary of it, because it can get into these chop modes. So from where it is at the moment, it sort of there's a trend line across the lows that you could be drawing into it and finding using as a bit of a support area, or to see if it breaks that area. But I'd be more likely to draw across the absolute lows here from let's see if I can pop it on there, from across this sort of area. Look at this bit, the bigger picture on what it's doing, because it could just get into a chop mode here, break down this sort of smaller term trend line, and yet get into a chop mode and continue its ride up there. So bigger picture, really, it's been in the strongest trend. It's consolidating around these highs. Maybe it has got more to give to the upside. Okay, that's the request there. Euro yen, I'll have a quick look at here. It's been pushing up most of the time. It's in a maybe a clearer trend line there, less consolidation, and that too as well. It's put lower highs in on the 4 hourly here, some softening, some sort of weaker signs, and then it's just now put a higher low in. Maybe that's it on where we are there. Again, difficult to read some of this when it goes pre 8 o'clock. I really don't like the sort of those early shoves. Anyway, bigger picture is to the upside. May just have to be patient now, as it's done these sort of surge. Sometimes they just sort of fake out moves which take out the stops above them pretty early. There's traders trading the ranges. The stops get taken out and then it rolls over. But there is a decent trend on these for the upside. Okay. That's pretty much there on the currency front. Looking at the, I will briefly look at the Aussie dollar. Sorry, I missed that one out. I think, did I miss the Aussie out? But the Aussie's just in its usual chop pattern here. So there are some sort of opportunities, I guess, intraday, but it's just such a mess at the moment. I'm not interested in trading it too much myself. Having a look through there, you see the ranges. It does get into ranges, and yep, may get into its weekly R1 or something, but very rangy, bit shaky at the moment. Looking at the other markets then, S&Ps. So yesterday it eventually kicked in there and pushed into a new low, but put this bullish engulfing bar in effectively, or continuation bar there, looking more solid. And well, we could put off some new highs at this rate in the next day or two. It's just the way it's been moving. Higher lows coming through again. As soon as I think about writing it off, it turns around. I said that last week when I was looking at it coming down here, thinking, well, it does look a bit soft now, but there you go. It puts the higher low in towards the end of the week, the later part of the week there. Finds a bit of support after a bit of resistance into these highs, and off it goes. So it's trying its best to continue pushing. Gold's done well. In a weaker dollar will help gold quite often. It's seen as an opportunity on a weak dollar, and well, we're seeing the opportunity working out here. It's pushing up again back towards that 1900 area maybe. It's a bit choppy. It's not an intraday market for me, but from a swing basis, it's got some opportunities of further upside there. Okay, that's gold. Right, so a quick look at oil. So oil, as I said yesterday, it rolled over last week with the oil the talks in Iran, but that seems soon forgotten, and we're seeing sort of oil prices rally again, regardless of what's happening there. We have got this sort of resistance area sitting at 66.50. I don't think it really matters too much in terms of I think there's a possibility at some point that's going to be broken, I guess, looking at it at the moment. I would expect selling coming into it again, but maybe we'll see a sort of push back up to around about that 68 at some stage if it breaks. Okay, that's oil. Finally, Bitcoin here for Bitcoiners. Oh, why don't I like pre-8 o'clock, Paul? So often it's fake out moves. You get a lot of fake out moves. You've got a lower volumes generally that are leading up to that through the Asian session. It's quite easy to see these sort of moves where the market just breaks out there. If you look at your trading logs, if you're trading pre-8 o'clock and have a look at your success rate pre-8 o'clock versus post-8 o'clock, you'll find a lot of traders, they do a lot better post-8 o'clock than they do pre-8 o'clock. So I personally, I just find it's a more sound market post 8 o'clock. Bitcoin struggled yesterday, a bit more of a bounce there, I guess, in the end after the weekend. A lot of these markets, I'm just looking, Ripple just doing exactly the same as is Ethereum. So Ethereum turned up quite nicely yesterday. Hearing of more exchanges doing the dirty on people, disappearing, one of them completely, taking millions with it. But if you trade, and do make sure you trade one of the more significant exchanges which has a decent and known track record. Currencies themselves, maybe they're in that phase where they're worth accumulating something, but just tread carefully. They've not really put higher lows or anything into these movements, and they could still roll over in my book. Okay, that's pretty much it for me. I wish you a great trading day, and I'll catch you in the morning. Bye for now. You're welcome, Paul.